This is Adam Benjamin Irby from AdamsWeblog.com here for the Hotboyz show, here with executive producer Carlos King, Rollo, and Remo, the two main cast members. Carlos, how did the idea for this show come along?
Well, one day last year I was partying at the Culture Club with a friend of mine, and I remember just being downstairs in this big room, enjoying the music, you know, drinking and everything, and this big fight breaks out in the middle of the room. And I'm sitting back to like, okay, what's going on? Me and my friend are like, okay, it's a fight. And then I see Ronnie, who's one of the cast members on the show, I see him breaking up the fight. And in the midst of him breaking it up, he gets involved in the fight. So it's like more people just jumping in. And at that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Then one of my friends were like, oh, that's one of the Hotboyz. So I'm like, the Hotboyz. And I've heard about them before, but I never had the opportunity to meet them. So me being a producer, just thinking all the time about different, shows I should be a part of, I spent the whole weekend just thinking about how I can get into contact with the Hotboyz member. So a friend of mine, Trey, was like, oh, you need to talk to Rollo. He's like the main guy in the Hotboyz. He's the go-to person. So I hit him up on MySpace because I didn't have a number for him. And he emailed me back, and we had a meeting at my office when I was working at BET. He along with Remo, and I told him about the idea of doing a reality show about them. Little did I know that they already had that idea for themselves as well. So they presented a trailer to me that they shot on their own. It was really good, and I felt like, you know what, I can take this and make this something bigger. And I was happy that they entrusted me with the idea of coming into their lives, because they're very private people. Although they're extremely popular in the NYC gay community, they're also very guarded and very private. So I was extremely appreciative that they allowed me to film them over a course of 6 months to a year, it was like.
From a production standpoint, what can we expect from the show?
From a production standpoint, you can expect a lot of footage, great footage I should add, on who each individual member is. So the family consists of 30 members. So I had an interview, like 35, 40, 50, with a lot of members. So I had to cut it down, and I chose the 6 best people who I felt represented who the Hotboyz are. And those people are Jai, who is the hustler out of the family. You have Walter, who's like the sweetheart. He's the charmer. He's a choreographer as well. You have Ronnie, who's like the sex symbol out of the show. You have Shy, who's like, the party rock star type of guy. Then you have Rollo and Remo, who holds the family together.
So kind of like the real world.
Not really, because the real world, you have all the members living under one roof.
Right.
And in this case, is seeing 6 individuals and seeing their individual lives. And you see it played out, how they're played out in their families. You see how Rollo has to do a lot to keep this family unit together. You see how Remo has to deal with the kids complaining about Rollo's discipline. And then you see the kids, as they call them, you see the kids doing their own thing and living their own lives. But you see how all these people get together and they love one another, and although they fight and they argue like we all do, they do know that at the end of the day they are family, and that no matter what happens in the outside world, they have these 2 individuals to really hold them together.
But what impact do you think this show will have on the gay community, the black community, and the world at large?
My goal with this show, which is the reason why I didn't create the show, because I saw them fighting, and I wanted this whole show to be, I wanted 6 episodes to be about fighting. I wanted to be a part of this show because, as you know, being black and gay is still taboo in 2008. And with these guys, they're proud to be who they are. They're proud to be black. They're proud to be male. They're proud to be gay. And in the gay community, once you grow up and you realize you have these feelings that are taboo in your town and your family, you don't have anyone to turn to. And the beauty of it, like for example, you have Walter, who grew up with issues in his childhood. So he did not have anyone to talk to. He didn't have that mother figure to go to. So you have Rollo, who was fortunate enough to take him on board and to really nurture him and guide him in his adulthood. You have Shy and all these other kids who come from dysfunctional families, but these 2 individuals hold themselves together, and they are trying to guide them into being proud to be gay, to be proud of who they are. You know what I mean? So I hope this show, my goal is I hope this show really just transcends the stereotype as well. The public's perception of gay men is that, oh, they're queenies, they wear tight jeans, they're all like fabulous and fierce, which, you know, they all are, but they're also, they love hip hop, they also dress like men. They're men and they're proud to be who they are. It's not just a show about a bunch of gay men who are catty and queenie. It's about these men who are throwing the hottest parties in New York City. It's about men who are proud to be who they are. It's about this family who are proud to be a part of this family, regardless of the rumors and the gossip mill that people do here in the streets. So I hope, for example, a little boy in Idaho who comes from a small town, he may be gay. My hope is that he'll see this show and he'll see a representation of who he is. He'll see a representation of black men who are not out there doing the stereotypical things that the public think gay guys do. You know, they're out there making their own money. They're out there throwing these parties. They're out there trying to brand themselves. So I hope that little boy sees these 6 main cast members and he becomes proud to be who he is. So this show, I just want people to really have an eye-opener, not only in the Hotboyz' lives, but also in the lives of gay black men.
Well, thank you, Carlos.
Thank you.
My next line of questioning will be for the boys. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
What are the Hotboyz? What exactly is it, and how did the group start?
We're a family. We're a family probably like any other family, more or less probably in a fraternity type of way, whereas, you know, all being brothers or males or, you know, all coming together under one unit for one, you know, specific, not cause, but, you know, pushed together or thrusted together for a reason.
So is it like, is it everybody know each other's like membership or people selected? How did that whole thing come together?
It's a very selective process, actually. It's application and fees. No, no, it's just got more or less like your vibe, like, you know, how people gravitate towards others, like where you meet people and how your relationships kind of panned out, and like, you know, just feeling someone's energy. And if the energy is right, then of course someone would want you to be a part of, like, being friends with anyone.
So what makes the Hotboyz so hot? Like, what would separate you from the rest? Is it a separation, or is it a name?
The name came from one of our elders, what you would call him Uncle Bobby. He kind of like just made up this, like, we were always in the clubs, we were always together, we were all hanging out, we were always living either together in different parts of the city, and it's just our lives were so far intertwined that, you know, of course we found a name for us, and Uncle Bobby said that we should be the Hotboyz.
Rollo and Remo, you are not romantically involved, correct?
No.
But you are, but you are the mother and the father of this group, right? Okay. So Rollo, you are deemed as like the matriarch of this group. Now, how do you, as a male, feel like having taken that role, or having that role been placed upon you as something that's traditionally, quote unquote, female?
It was a natural way. It was my natural role because it's just the way my personality is. It's very, I mean, you know, I have a very mothering or very comforting type of personality, in that sense that people felt comfortable with me becoming, you know, or me being their mother. You know what I mean? So that's a big, you know, title to put on someone, for someone to sit there and call you mother or ma. So it was like, it's just kind of like how I am as a person, and it fit perfectly.
So Remo, what makes you the father?
I just think that I have a very father-like way about myself, you know, just the way I interact with the kids. And just like my advice is more from like a fatherly standpoint.
He's the father because I told him he's the father. More or less. So
is there an age thing? Are the kids usually younger than you, or how does that come into play? As far as like, are they usually younger than you guys, or it doesn't matter? It's just like a matter of standing.
Our family is fraternal in a sense, whereas us being older males, we are there to help them, you know, live their lives. And we're being gay in the community, you know that you're ostracized by your family and friends, and just us all being together, you know, we're able to tell them from our standpoint, like, you know, don't do this, or this is what I've gone through, you know, I went to college here, or, you know, just any type of advice that you can give to help someone.